I'm Darren Karp, and on with me now, I'm just so excited. It's one of my favorite couples on TV. I've got MacKenzie and Connor Trott from Love Island, USA with me. How are you two doing?
Great.
You're
I'm doing great now that I'm back with
Gus.
MacKenzie, and now I can see you too.
Oh, see, and I made you bring Gus on because he really is the glue to the relationship, and I know that. Everyone knows that. Now, MacKenzie, you've been off of the island for a little while now. How are you doing post your experience?
Oh, I'm amazing. I think that I was there almost 4 weeks. I think 4 weeks I got the full experience. It is hard. I do miss everybody there a lot. Cast and crew, honestly, got really close with them as well. But I'm happy to be home, and now that Connor's out too, it's all good. It's all good here. I'm very happy.
Now, Connor, what about you? How does it feel to finally be off Love Island?
Yeah, it definitely feels different. It feels refreshing. It feels good to be back home, where I left off. It is a little different just being back here for the first, full day. But I'm very happy and I'm very excited. It was, I feel like, my time to go, and I'm happy for the time that I had there. But I'm very much in a good spot now being back home.
Well, good. I love to hear it. You two had a whirlwind romance on Love Island, I will say. And although you didn't end up staying together on the show, by the looks of things, it seems like you guys are already trying to have romance again, because when Connor came off, he immediately called you and wanted to see Gus, hence Gus being here. So that seemed so fantastic, and try and make it work in the outside world. Well, Connor, once MacKenzie left, did you think you would find someone else, or were you still stuck on her and just sort of couldn't get her out of your mind? I mean, I know you kind of tried things with Moira, but that always felt a little bit more friendly than romantic, at least from a viewer standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever MacKenzie left, I knew in the back of my mind that I did not want my Love Island experience to be with anyone else. I felt like I did find my person there, and for my reason, I discovered my purpose for being there, in finding her, and I didn't want to find anyone else. So, it was very unexpected to have MacKenzie leave as early as she did, and I do think as if we had more time together, then we would have been back together during our show, or during our time in the show. So whenever she left, I knew in the back of my mind that I did not want to pursue anything more with Moira than just being friends. And it did not take me long at all to realize that I didn't want to be there for any longer, to, just be a friend in the show, when the whole purpose of the show is to find love. And I felt like I found that. And so I did feel like my time, had come, although it was not at the same time as MacKenzie's, but I did feel it inside.
I'm curious, though, if that last recoupling, Moira had chosen you, just to kind of give you another chance, if you will, would you have left the island and said no, or would you have maybe stayed on just to see?
It's a good question. So I guess during my time there, I felt as though I wasn't able to kind of express maybe certain things that I felt like if I wanted to say no, I didn't realize maybe that was an option. Although inside that was how I was feeling. And if Moira would have selected me, it would have been very hard for me to have continued on with the show. I had expressed to people in running the show that a day before the recoupling ceremony left, that I did want to go home, and I felt as though my time had come and I didn't want to continue on with this experience. So, I was open to sticking it out until the next recoupling ceremony, but I think if Moira would have selected me, then it would just have made it more clear to me that I didn't want to be there anymore. So I think I would have said and felt like I would have had the strength to say I did not want to continue on if she would have.
Now, MacKenzie, I want to get you in on this because, to Connor's point, timing is sort of the essence here, and you guys have limited time to really get to know each other. And Casa Amor just threw an entire wave into the ocean here. Do you regret choosing Jalen after Casa Amor, if you looking back, or do you think it helped you sort of realize what you and Connor originally had together?
So I definitely am leaning more towards the latter for me personally. what wasn't shown and what wasn't really expressed through what the public saw was that the couple of days leading up to Casa Amor, Connor and I were in a bit of a confusing place. At that point, I think that the whole process of the show and the group dynamics, like the group opinions about our relationship, was really starting to weigh on us. And it was kind of getting hard to navigate, like, is this the best thing for us in this environment? Because it was a lot of, it just felt like there was a lot of pressure to not be together. And so going into Casa Amor, I'd actually had a conversation with the girls, and they had kind of expressed to me that Connor had told them that he wanted space from me. So not being able to speak to Connor, that was kind of what I was told. I've now spoken since, obviously, to him, and I know it was misunderstood, but that was my mindset going in. And up until that point, I've been incredibly loyal, even through everything I stuck in, and I would have, of course. But once they said that to me, I did kind of start to think, would he come back with someone else? And I honestly thought there was a good chance he would. I knew that people have been watching the show. I knew that girls were going to come at him hard and be like, MacKenzie isn't right for you. She's this, she's that, not knowing our relationship, not knowing me. And, that was on my mind. So my mindset with Jalen was, I didn't really know him that well at all. It was more of, I thought it was a possibility of something, but I had communicated to Jalen, and I think he misunderstood that I was planning to bring Jalen in, but if Connor came back single and Connor talked to me and said, I still want to be with you, I would have wanted to reconcile with Connor. But unfortunately, after Casa, Connor and I never had that conversation, honestly, until my last day in the villa. We finally had that talk. And yeah, so I don't regret it because I think that it was necessary. It was what I felt was right at the time. I wish I picked a different guy from Casa, maybe one that was a little more genuine intentions, but.
Well, in your defense, I gotta say, I mean, just as a viewer and a fan, Jalen did know how to sweet talk, I think, when it was appropriate for him to do that. I mean, at what point did you sort of realize in your mind that Jalen was playing games?
I knew as the first day we were back in the villa after the recoupling. That day he had completely changed his whole demeanor. Every time I kind of tried to communicate anything, the way he spoke to me was kind of dismissive. And it just definitely felt like that was when I started to see maybe he is playing a game. And it was definitely by the next morning. So the second day we were all back in the villa that my mind was made up. And then I slept outside that night. I mean, if that doesn't say I'm not into you, then I don't know what does.
Yeah.